The gloves were off at the White House today. Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt just delivered a masterclass in exposing the deep state's judicial coup against President Trump. Consumer confidence is soaring. The economy is booming. Americans finally believe we're on the right track. But unelected judges are desperately trying to derail the Trump train. They're blocking his tariffs. They're protecting illegal aliens. They're forcing taxpayers to fund transgender surgeries. Well, today, Leavitt named names, exposing their schemes, and revealed how Trump is fighting back. She even torched a reporter trying to spin Gaza aid into controversy. This isn't just a press briefing. It's a declaration of war against the judicial resistance. And wait until you see this. And while judges attack Trump's America First agenda, something else is attacking our food supply, and it starts with the bees. Food prices are up 40% because our natural food chain is collapsing. At the heart, American honeybees, essential for pollination and survival of our crops. Patriot Bee Best is on a mission to restore America's bee population. This veteran-owned movement educates patriots, funds restoration projects, rebuilds habitats, and supports local beekeepers. You can subscribe at patriotbeebest.com with code NEXTNEWS for 25% off. You get the Patriot Bee Digest with actionable info and family content. Protect the bees and preserve the republic at patriotbeebest.com. It's linked down below. Now, Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt, she came out swinging today, exposing the judicial insurrection, trying to stop Trump's America First agenda. She started with the good news, the one big beautiful bill that's about to transform America. Watch her explain why law enforcement is lining up behind Trump's vision for the largest border security investment in American history. Watch.
With Congress returning next week, it's critical that Senate Republicans maintain the momentum and quickly pass the One Big Beautiful Bill. The One Big Beautiful Bill will truly make America safe and prosperous. The One Big Beautiful Bill includes the largest border security investment ever. That's why the law enforcement groups are lining up to encourage its swift passage. The National Fraternal Order of Police, the largest police union in the country, just endorsed key provisions of the bill. The FOP president announced their strong support, saying the One Big Beautiful Bill Act is more than legislation. It is a promise kept to the public safety officers across the country and a bold step toward an economy that respects, rewards, and uplifts the people who keep it safe. And the National Border Patrol Council, which represents nearly 20,000 Border Patrol agents, hailed the legislation as well. The group's president said this legislation provides a once-in-a-generation investment in the border security of our great country and will make America safer. The One Big Beautiful Bill will guarantee we can permanently have the safest, strongest, and most secure immigration system in American history.
The Fraternal Order of Police and National Border Patrol Council both endorse it because it delivers on Trump's promise for the safest, strongest immigration system in American history. But then Leavitt dropped the hammer on what she called another example of judicial overreach. 3 unelected judges brazenly abused their power to block Trump's Liberation Day tariffs designed to fix our trillion-dollar trade deficit. Watch her expose how these judges are undermining America's credibility on the world stage. Take a look.
Last night, the Trump administration faced another example of judicial overreach. Using his full and proper legal authority, President Trump imposed universal tariffs and reciprocal tariffs on Liberation Day to address the extraordinary threat to our national security and economy posed by large and persistent annual U.S. goods trade deficits. The United States has run a trade deficit of goods every year since 1975. In 2024, our trade deficit in goods exceeded $1 trillion. Everybody agrees this is unacceptable. President Trump is delivering on his promise to fix this problem, and he has taken a long overdue and much needed bold stance for American workers after decades of our manufacturing base being hollowed out. The president's rationale for imposing these powerful tariffs was legally sound and grounded in common sense. President Trump correctly believes that America cannot function safely long-term if we are unable to scale advanced domestic manufacturing capacity, have our own secure critical supply chains, and our defense industrial base is dependent on foreign adversaries. 3 judges of the U.S. Court of International Trade disagreed and brazenly abused their judicial power to usurp the authority of President Trump to stop him from carrying out the mandate that the American people gave him. These judges failed to acknowledge that the President of the United States has core foreign affairs powers and authority given to him by Congress to protect the United States economy and national security. Congress had created the National Emergency Act to provide the congressional framework to strike down improper IEEPA use. And any questions over whether President Trump improperly imposed these IEEPA tariffs were already adjudicated in Congress following Liberation Day. Congress firmly rejected an effort led by Senator Rand Paul and Democrats to terminate the president's reciprocal tariffs. The courts should have no role here. There is a troubling and dangerous trend of unelected judges inserting themselves into the presidential decision-making process. America cannot function if President Trump, or any other president for that matter, has their sensitive diplomatic or trade negotiations railroaded by activist judges. President Trump is in the process of rebalancing America's trading agreements with the entire world, bringing tens of billions of dollars in tariff revenues to our country, and finally ending the United States of America from being ripped off. These judges are threatening to undermine the credibility of the United States on the world stage. The administration has already filed an emergency motion for a stay pending appeal and an immediate administrative stay to strike down this egregious decision. But ultimately, the Supreme Court must put an end to this for the sake of our Constitution and our country.
These judges failed to acknowledge the president's constitutional authority even after Congress rejected efforts to terminate his reciprocal tariffs. The Supreme Court must end this judicial coup. The American people are seeing through the lies. Leavitt revealed that consumer confidence just surged, with the biggest monthly jump in 4 years, smashing all expectations. For the first time in Rasmussen polling history, a majority believes the country is on the right track. For the first time. Here's her powerful message about Trump's leadership. Watch.
Americans are growing more and more optimistic about the economy under this president. Consumer confidence surged in May, with the biggest monthly jump in 4 years, smashing expectations. According to the release from the Consumer Confidence Index, the increase in confidence was broad-based across all age groups, income groups, and political affiliations. Our country is clearly heading in the right direction under President Trump's bold leadership. For the first time in history of Rasmussen polling, a majority of Americans believe the country is on the right track. It's unsurprising because the president is fulfilling promises he made to the American people.
The increase crossed all age groups, income levels, and political affiliations because Trump is fulfilling every promise he made to the American people. And then Leavitt went nuclear on the fake news about the one big beautiful bill. The swamp claims it increases the deficit using what she called shoddy assumptions from the CBO, the same people who were dead wrong about Trump's first term. Watch now. She demolishes their lies with actual facts about what this bill truly delivers.
I also want to take the opportunity to debunk some false claims that have been circulating in the press about this bill. The blatantly wrong claim that the One Big Beautiful Bill increases the deficit is based on the Congressional Budget Office and other scorekeepers who use shoddy assumptions and have historically been terrible at forecasting across Democrat and Republican administrations alike. For example, just before Congress enacted the original Trump tax cuts at the end of 2017, the same CBO projected that growth would average a mere 1.9% over the next 10 years. However, by 2019, actual growth had surged to 3.4% once the Trump tax cuts went into effect, exceeding the CBO forecast by nearly 2 full percentage points. The CBO's latest forecast makes the same anemic growth assumptions as they did in 2017, missing the impact of the One Big Beautiful Bill. The CBO assumes long-term GDP growth of an anemic 1.8%, and that is absurd. The American economy is going to boom like never before after the One Big Beautiful Bill is passed. The largest middle-class tax cut in history, massive deregulation, and the most aggressive domestic energy exploration ever will fuel small businesses, further boost private investment, increase workers' wages, and supercharge economic growth. The Council of Economic Advisors has factored in the effects of all these pro-growth policies and estimated in their own analysis that growth will average 3% in the long run after the One Big Beautiful Bill is passed, which is nearly double the ridiculous CBO projection. This higher growth would result in $4.1 trillion in additional revenue over the next 10 years. Between the common sense spending reforms contained in the One Big Beautiful Bill and the robust economic growth that will be generated as a result of it, there will be no increase to the deficit. The same analysis from the CEA shows just how this historic package will unleash prosperity and ignite a blue-collar boom across America. But if the radical Democrats get their way and the One Big Beautiful Bill does not pass, Americans will face a whopping $4 trillion tax hike. This is unacceptable to President Trump. President Trump will not allow Democrats to massively raise Americans' taxes. Senate Republicans must get this bill passed. Failure is not an option. The American people are counting on Republicans to deliver.
Between spending reforms and robust growth, there's no deficit increase. Democrats want a $4 trillion tax hike on working families, and Trump won't let that happen because failure is not an option. When pressed about complying with rogue court orders, Leavitt made Trump's position crystal clear. They'll follow the law while fighting these activist judges every step of the way. The administration knows they're acting within the president's legal authority, and they will win on the merits. Watch.
The administration is operating under the directive given to from the president that we need to comply with the court's orders. He's made that very clear, but we're going to fight them in court, and we're going to win on the merits of these cases because we know we are acting within the president's legal and executive authorities.
Now, Trump's directive is clear. Comply with court orders while fighting to win, because these judges are wrong on the law and the Constitution. But here's where it gets insane. Leavitt revealed the shocking pattern of judicial harassment against Trump. He faced more injunctions in 1 month than Biden did in 3 years. Watch as she lists the absolutely ridiculous rulings these radical judges have issued to sabotage the America First agenda. Take a look.
There is an effort by this administration to tackle these rogue judges and the injunctions and the blockades that we have faced in our broken judicial system. In every case. I mean, we have seen time and time again these lower district court judges ruling against this administration in the president's basic executive authority and powers. And this administration is fighting every single one of those battles in court, including already the block that came down from the tariff court, the IEPA court last night. And as on my way out here to the briefing room, I understand that there was another district court judge right here in Washington, D.C., who ruled against the president's tariff power. And I will get to the heart of your question, and I'm glad that we are addressing this in the room today, because nationwide injunctions ordered against the first Trump administration, Trump 1.0, account for more than half of the injunctions issued in this country since 1963. And President Trump had more injunctions in 1 full month of office in February than Joe Biden had in 3 years. And let me roll through some of these radical injunctions to paint the picture for the American people at home. These are not just talking points. These are real judges in the court of law who are trying to block the president's power and the policies that he was elected to enact. For example, a court ordered the Trump administration to return already deported terrorist aliens back to the United States. A court has ruled the Trump administration can't even temporarily pause our refugee programs. Courts prohibited the Trump administration from eliminating federal funding for child transgender surgery and mutilation, a practice that the American people overwhelmingly reject. A court also held that the Trump administration could not ban people experiencing gender dysphoria or mental health issues from serving in the military. Ridiculous. Courts prohibited the removal of transgender women from women's prisons despite potential physical harm to real women in those prisons, biological women. A Northern District of California judge issued an absurd ruling that the president cannot fire people within the executive branch without Congress passing a bill, even though Congress has expressly authorized the president through the Office of Personnel Management to authorize reductions in force across agencies. A court also ordered the Trump administration to rehire thousands of already fired employees in several cases. A federal judge blocked the Trump administration from defunding the Department of Education, another signature campaign promise that this president has the power to implement. Courts ordered the Trump administration could not eliminate funding for illegal DEI programs, hence the word illegal. These are illegal programs to begin with, and now the courts are trying to say this president can't roll them back. And a district court judge prohibited the president from issuing any categorical funding freezes. And then another court ordered on top of that the administration makes $2 billion of payments in 36 hours. These are just a few of the ridiculous orders that we have seen from lower district court judges every day, and we hope that the Supreme Court will weigh in and rein them in.
Courts ordered Trump to return deported terrorists, fund child transgender surgery, keep biological men and women's sports and prisons. The list of insane rulings goes on and on. Then came the moment when Leavitt absolutely cooked the fake news reporter, trying to spin the Gaza aid story. The reporter tried to make Trump look bad for providing humanitarian aid. Now watch as Leavitt reminded everyone about Biden's failed $230 million pier that injured service members and delivered nothing. Watch.
Has this administration been briefed about the incident that happened in Gaza on Tuesday during the rollout of the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation distribution of aid to Palestinians there? And should there be a ceasefire, will this administration continue to rely on this foundation for the distribution of aid to civilians?
Are you referring, what incident are you referring to?
On Tuesday,
when the aid was rolled out to Gaza for the first time in many months, and meals and food was given to hungry people thanks to President Trump. Yes, we were briefed on that plan. The president was the reason that aid went into Gaza, and he got the Israelis to support that plan. And I would add that the previous administration rejected such a plan to ensure that these starving and devastated people in the Gaza Strip were given humanitarian aid and assistance. And it was the previous administration that tried to build this pier, if you all remember it. It was brought to my attention this morning, and I thought that's a good point. Why don't I bring that up? Because there's been so much criticism. In fact, it was on the front page of a newspaper this morning about the criticism for this president having a humanitarian heart and giving people badly needed food and supplies. Nobody wanted to talk about how the previous administration failed in that endeavor. They built this pier that cost $230 million. It lasted about 20 days, and more than 60 U.S. service members were injured, as a part of this floating aid pier that did nothing for the people of Gaza. The president is opening up his humanitarian heart to get aid into the region while his team simultaneously negotiates a ceasefire and the return of all hostages. We are moving the ball forward in a positive direction for all people. The president wants to see peace for all people.
Trump succeeded where Biden failed catastrophically, getting real aid to desperate people while his team negotiates for peace and the return of all hostages. On illegal immigration, Leavitt confirmed thousands are already self-deporting rather than face Trump's enforcement. Her message was direct and powerful. Take the easy way out or we'll deport you. This is what real border security looks like under a president who means business. Take a look.
I believe it's in the thousands of those who have chosen the easier route of self-deportation, and we certainly encourage all illegal aliens who are present within our homeland to take that option. It's a much more pleasant option than being deported, and we will deport you if you're here illegally. That's our intention.
The choice is simple. Leave voluntarily or be removed by force. Trump's making it clear that illegal presence in America is over. And finally, Leavitt confirmed that Special Envoy Witkoff and President Trump submitted a ceasefire proposal to Hamas that Israel already backed. While Biden fumbled for 4 years, Trump's team is working to bring hostages home. Real leadership, real results, real negotiations that put America and our allies first. Watch.
I can confirm that Special Envoy Witkoff and the president submitted a ceasefire proposal to Hamas that Israel backed and supported. Israel signed off on this proposal before it was sent to Hamas. I can also confirm that those discussions are continuing, and we hope that a ceasefire in Gaza will take place so we can return all of the hostages home, and that's been a priority from this administration from the beginning. I won't comment further as we are in the midst of this right now.
So Israel signed off before it went to Hamas, and that's how you negotiate from strength, with our allies on the board from the start. So the press conference was a masterclass in fighting back against the narrative. While judges desperately try to stop him, while media spins every success into failure, Trump keeps on winning. The economy is booming, the border is securing, and America is back. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is right now. So this is what winning looks like, Patriots. Karoline Leavitt just showed America the truth. Trump is delivering on every promise while desperate judges throw legal tantrums. They can't stop the economic boom. They can't stop the border wall. They can't stop the American comeback. But they're trying. Oh, how they're trying. Ordering us to bring back terrorists? Forcing taxpayers to fund child mutilation? Protecting criminals in women's prisons? These aren't judges. They're resistance fighters in black robes. But here's what matters. Trump is fighting back and he's winning. Consumer confidence is through the roof. Trade deals getting done. Peace negotiations advancing. The establishment thought they could use their pet judges to nullify our votes. Well, they thought wrong. Leavitt exposed their whole game today. So here's the question. Should the Supreme Court immediately shut down these rogue lower courts? Yes or no in the comments. And you can support real journalism at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. Together, you and I, we are unstoppable.